good morning, or afternoon, or whatever it is, wherever you guys are at. So, check it out. I actually came up with a REI reply with ReiSift workflow for you guys. So, look, this is the toughest thing. I love both systems, right? I love both of them. So, ReiSift is what I use for my data management, right? So, it has the list stacking that you can't find anywhere else. I'm going to be honest, right? Forget all of that. But it has the list stacking and it has the reoccurring tasks in there, the automations in there. I love those two together. But I also love REI Reply for all the follow ups, everything else, right? So, REI Reply, if you don't know, you could text people and keep texting them over time and then they will respond. So what I found out is that you text somebody one time, they'll ignore your call. They'll ignore it because it's easy. But when you get up to about 3 to 5 texts, that's the sweet spot when they start responding and they start saying, "Leave me alone." No, I'm just kidding. But they'll say like either "Leave me alone" or they'll say "House is not for sale" or something else, and at least then you know you're not just reaching out to nobody. At least you have a confirmation on what that result is. Are they interested or not? Right? And then you can move on with your life. So I made this, which is, let me actually pull this up here. Boom. Okay. So this is how we do it in my business, right? So I've set up REI Reply to have some automations working in the background to reduce the number of clicks and everything else, right? So the way that we do it is we're going to open up the list of the day, which is going to be your expired list, your pre foreclosures, for sale by owners, whatever the case may be, right? So you open that up, and then we go to Let's Start. So when you hit the Let's Start on the workflow, that begins the manual actions, which is always going to be a phone call first. Phone calls beat any other communication, any other one. I mean, let's be honest. You text somebody, they're going to respond like they're on social media, not in a nice way, right? So, but if you call them, you'll get through a lot of the details, and also you get the tonality of the person, which is super important, right? So when you go there, you hit the Let's Start, and then you're going to go to Copy Address and add that into the SIFT. So the reason why we do that is because the next thing I want them to do is when they open up that SIFT page, I want them to do a quality check, right? I want them to check, are there any phone numbers, missing tags, or statuses, right? Because if they are, we want to find out what's going on. We don't want to call a phone number that's tagged as dead phone number, but somebody just forgot to put the status in there, right? Or somebody put the status as dead phone number and didn't put the tag as dead. So we want to make sure all that is checked. So are there any phone numbers missing tags or statuses? And if that is true, if it's yes, then we're going to fill in that missing information. Let's take this and drag it right on over here, and we're going to add this to the workflow to here. Okay. If they're not missing any tags or statuses, we go here, and this brings us right back to Let's Start Dialing, right? Now, what we're going to do next is once we dial that phone number, did the person answer or not? So we have both trees here. So if they don't answer, we're going to let it, did it ring one time and hang up? The reason why I asked that question is because in Twilio, in Twilio, if a phone number is bad or disconnected, not in service, or anything like that, then it'll ring that phone number one time and it'll hang up, or maybe even twice. Sometimes it'll happen twice where it rings twice and hangs up the phone. No voice message, anything. And what I found out is that if you take that phone number and dial it through your cell phone, pick up your cell phone, dial that number again, you're going to find out that that number is either not in service, disconnected, or it's a busy signal, right? If that phone is a busy signal, who has a busy signal in 2022? Nobody, right? So I mark that if it rang once and hang up, if it's yes, I mark that as dead in REI reply. Once that's marked and tagged as dead in REI reply, a couple automations in the background is going to pull that from the workflow, so we won't text it again, we won't call it again or anything like that. And there's going to be a couple other things in the background, but we remove that from the flow altogether, right? Now, did it ring once and hang up? If that didn't happen, was it a voice message? If it's a voice message, what we're going to do is we're going to leave a voice message. Leave a live voice message there, right? I even have the script there for my VA. All she has to do is click that and go, okay? And then we click voicemail to end that call status. And when you do that in REI reply, that shows up in the call report as voicemail. So now when you're trying to figure out at the end of the day if you left a voice message or not, right? Then that will all be here, right? Now, like I said, when you leave a voice message and you click voicemail, there's another automation that happens for my business where it will leave a tag of left voice message. LVM is what I have it tagged as, right? And then we keep it moving forward. So that way, now we know which ones we called and which one we left a voice message to, right? If there was no voice message, then we're going to hit the no call as the call status. I mean, no answer, sorry, as the call status, right? Then we're going to mark that as CCA1, CCA2. So that stands for cold call attempt 1, 2, 3, so on and so forth, right? So now we're boxing it all in, right? Once we have the no answer, did the text go through? If the text went through, right? If the text went through, then we mark that in SIFT as a mobile phone number. It's already marked in REI reply as a mobile phone number, and we leave the tags of TXT 1, 2, or 3 for the number of text attempts, right? And then once that's done, we go to does the contact have other phone numbers, right? Now, if the text doesn't go through, then we'll mark that as landline and we come right back down to does the contact have other phone numbers, okay? If that one person doesn't have other phone numbers, so we go down to the no, then we're going to mark this as Sensei Flowed A1, attempt 1, Sensei Flowed attempt 2. You can name it whatever you want to, but when I say Sensei Flowed, that actually means that I went through every portion of the phone number. So I called them, I texted them, and I also left them a voice message. Okay, so now I guess it's not a box in, it's a triangle, but whatever, right? I got them. I got them from every angle now. But if they do have other phone numbers, then we go over to yes, and that yes will lead us right back up until we get here to the let's start. Okay, so that's the part if they did not answer the phone. So the VA can go through, or your team members can go through and answer, not a problem. Or go through the not answered part, no problem. So, what if they do answer? If they do answer, right, then we say, hello, I'm looking for Mr. Smith. And they say, you have the wrong number. All right, no problem. We go to yes, we tag that as wrong number in REI reply. The automations will have the wrong number tag, remove that person from the campaign. I also want those phone numbers. I'll add this too, as we're going to delete that phone number, right? And the reason why we're going to delete that is because remember, REI reply is acting as our communications. ReiSift is acting as our data hub. So we don't want wrong phone numbers in our communications platform, right? For what? So let's just mark it as wrong phone number, and then we're going to delete from REI reply. All right. So wrong phone number, we're going to remove that one, right? If it's not a wrong phone number, there can only be a couple of things that happen once somebody answers the phone. Either they're going to be interested or not. It's going to be a wrong phone number or not, right? The house is sold. It's listed with a realtor. Or they'll just say, yes, that's my house. Don't ever call me again, which is do not call, DNC, right? So if we call them, they're not interested, not a problem, right? We're going to mark that it's not interested. Does the property have other phone numbers? No. We're going to mark the property as not interested in SIFT and move on, right? And I should actually put another line there to go back to dialing. But if the property, does the property have other phone numbers? If that's a yes, we're going to go to remove the remaining numbers from the campaign using the remove from campaign tag. The reason why is because think about it like this: each contact has between 3 to sometimes 8 phone numbers. Now, if we call Mr. Smith and he has 8 phone numbers, and we dial the first one, the second one, and the third one, and the third one he says, I'm not interested, there's no reason to call those other 5, right? We don't need to call them, right? That means we have 5 other phone numbers that we don't have to call, that our VA doesn't have to call, that whoever's on our team doesn't have to call, and we only will be able to save that amount of time and money if we track the results of those numbers on the front end, right? So we remove those other numbers immediately. So imagine it like this: that one person has 4 other phone numbers. Can you imagine if it was 5 other people and those 5 people had 4 phone numbers and all of them weren't interested, but you left those 20 phone numbers in there for you to call, text, and just waste money and time on? So if you if you track it up front, you save money on the back end, right? And then we remove that number, and then we go right back up and start dialing again. Okay. Now let's go the opposite way. If they're interested, yes, we're going to mark them as a lead in REI reply. Does the property have other phone numbers? Right? No. We're just going to change that as lead in SIFT. If they do have other phone numbers, yes, we're going to remove those phone numbers, right? So it's very simple. Let me go back and let's take a look at it from start to finish, right? So this is the entire thing. But what we've covered here is how we start the campaign, what we do when we pull that up, right? We do a quality check on that phone number or on that property or that file. And then once we do the quality check, we find out, did they answer? If they didn't, then we find out if it's dead or voice message. We find out if the text went through to determine if it's a mobile or a landline number. And then we mark that as Sensei Flow. So we know we've done everything possible to reach these people. And then if they do not, if they do answer, what do we do in all of these situations? So is it a wrong phone number? What do you do then? If it's not, are they interested or not? And come around for the entire flow. So doing something like this will be able to, you'll be able to hand this off to a VA or a team member or anything else, and they'll be able to follow this flow without missing a step every single time. So that's something I came up with. Super proud of it. If this was helpful to you, right, and you found any value in this at all, I hope you did. But if you found any value to it, please leave a comment below. Go, as they say, right? Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. If I missed anything, let me know that too, because I'm always reevaluating things. Um, but also, reach out to me. Hit me up. You know what I'm saying? Like, subscribe the video, subscribe to my channel. I'll come up with some more things here. And I appreciate you guys' time. All right, so let's get to it.